Level 1, the lookout. You're 19, 3 weeks in country, and you still mispronounce the city. Iskandaria. You know it from a briefing map, from the red circles your platoon sergeant drew over a grid square that didn't mean much to you until 4 days ago when an IED hit your platoon 2 blocks from here and 2 soldiers ended up in the aid station. Your job is simple. Stand on this rooftop, watch the road, don't move, don't use the radio unless something actually happens. Below you, inside the building that used to be a tractor factory, the real team is setting up. Spotting scopes, range finders, notebooks full of calculations, guys who went to sniper school. You are not one of them. You are the reason they don't get shot from behind. The sun comes up. The city starts moving. Men on motorcycles, a produce cart. An old man opens a shop across the street and sweeps the front step like nothing has ever happened in this city and nothing ever will. You watch all of it. Every person who stops longer than they need to, every car that parks and stays parked. And yesterday someone told you one of the guys in the aid station isn't keeping his leg. You start looking at every motorcycle differently, every man who takes the same route twice. This is the job. Not glamorous, not dangerous, not yet. Just eyes on a city that doesn't want you here. You don't mess this up. Level 2, the radio man. You're 22, specialist. You've run comms on 6 missions, and you already know the problem before you key the handset the first time. The tractor factory sits too far from the battalion tactical operations center. Dismounted radio, buildings blocking line of sight. You key up and get static. Fragments, nothing usable. So you build a relay. You spend 2 hours positioning a second node halfway to the TOC and routing the signal through it. You test it, you adjust, you test again. The platoon sergeant has told you since you got here that comms is the best weapon you carry. You've heard it enough times it stopped registering. It registers now. The shooter can put a round on a man at 1,300 meters, but if you can't call that back to command, if the TOC doesn't know what happened, if a quick reaction force can't spin up because your radio went out, the team is alone in a building in a city full of people who will come looking for whoever fired that shot. There is one exit from that building. You watch the signal meter. You log the check times. You do not let it drop. Level 3, the flanker. You're 26, sergeant. You've been in long enough to know which parts of this job never make it into the stories. Your job is to watch what the rest of the team can't. They're locked on to what's in front of them. That's exactly how it's supposed to work. They are not thinking about the stairwell behind them. They are not thinking about whether someone is still living in the apartment above. They are not thinking about the man on the street who glanced at this building a half-second longer than he should have. You are. You move through the building quietly. You check every room. You find a mattress, some folded clothing, a child's sandal on its side near the wall. You don't know where the family went. You set up near the entry point and watch the street through a gap in a boarded window. A man stops outside. He lights a cigarette. He looks up at the building. You don't move. You don't breathe differently. He finishes it. He walks away. 2 more hours of nothing. Then the radio crackles. Low. They have eyes on something. The mission is starting to move. Your job just got more important. Nobody gets through that door. Level 4, the spotter. You're 28, staff sergeant. You can shoot. That is not your job today. Your job started 4 days ago when McGuire tasked you with the Western Road. IED emplacers don't work randomly. They find a spot. It works. They come back. You've seen the pattern enough times to know you'll find it before you can prove it, and then you spend the next few days proving it. 14 pages of notes before the thread shows up. Day 2, a man crouching near the berm on the south side. Too far to engage. Wrong angle. You log the grid, the time, a description. Day 3. Different man, same stretch, same behavior. That evening, you briefed McGuire. This is the location. This is the pattern. Now you're inside the building, spotting scope trained on that stretch of road. The rangefinder reads 1,340 meters. You check the wind. Left to right crosswind, hard enough to pull a round off at this distance. You run the calculation. You check it again. You write the number down. You say it clearly to the man beside you. His rifle is already pointed at the road. Level 5, the sniper. You're a staff sergeant. You built this position from nothing. You camouflaged the windows. You built the platform for the ITAS. You made sure the outside of the building looks exactly as empty as it did before your team came through the door. You've been behind the scope for 6 hours. Your back went numb somewhere around hour 4. You haven't eaten since before sunrise. The spotter says, target, left side, man crouching near the berm. You find him, kneeling in the dirt, something in his hands. He's not in any hurry. He thinks he's alone out there. 1,340 meters. Crosswind from the left at 12 miles an hour. You've made longer shots. You've also lost shots you thought were certain. You know exactly what a miss means from this position. Muzzle flash gives you away. One exit from this building, a city between you and the FOB. You and McGuire both thought about that. Neither of you said it out loud. You think about the guys from that patrol. You think about whoever is driving this road tomorrow. You only get one shot. You slow your breathing. The crosshair settles. Your finger moves to the trigger, and it stops being a decision. This is what sniper school is supposed to produce. Not thought, repetition, muscle memory that doesn't wait for your brain. You fire. Hit! The man goes down. He doesn't move. You stay in the scope. You watch the road. You call it in. Level 6, the team leader. You're a sergeant first class. This operation was yours. You chose the building. You decided to trade concealment on one side for the sightline you needed on the other. You own that trade-off, either way it lands. When the shot goes off, you're already running the next question. Compromised or not, stay or pull out. You get on the radio. Comms relays it up, possible enemy, KIA. Grid follows. Then you watch the street. 30 seconds. Normal movement, 1 minute. No one running toward the building. No one pointing. Nobody knows you're there. 14 operations in this city. 6 went sideways in ways that still replay. Guys got hurt. One time you pulled the team out under fire and spent 2 hours in a debrief explaining why the shot never came. This one went right. You document it clean. Every variable that mattered, every call that had to go right. Some sergeant in another city is going to run this same setup, and they're going to read what you write today. And maybe their guys come home because of it. You've thought about that before. It's the only thing that keeps the paperwork from feeling like paperwork. Level 7, the platoon sergeant. Your first sergeant, Brandon McGuire. 14 years in the Army, 9 months in country. 4 days ago, 2 of your soldiers went to the aid station. You stood in that building and made yourself a promise, and then you came back to the FOB and started putting this mission together. You found the building, the comms relay you built yourself because the radio range didn't account for the distance, and you were not going to let that be the reason this failed. The company commander got briefed at 0600. You argued for the extra setup time. You ran the pattern analysis with your spotter. You picked the team. You picked your shooter. Then you waited, which is always the hardest part of command. You don't aim the rifle. You don't call the wind. You just wait and trust that the people you put in that building are good enough. The call came in. Hit. Confirmed. You didn't react the way you expected. You nodded. You picked up your notebook. There are soldiers on patrol in this city tonight because of what happened in that building today. The man placing IEDs on the Western Road is game overed. The patrol that runs it tomorrow doesn't know why that stretch feels different. They just know it does. Some of them make it home because of it. You'll never know exactly which ones. That's how it works. That's the whole job, not the shot. The people who come home because every person in that building did their job right. The 19-year-old on the roof who was still figuring out what he was watching. The radio man who built a relay nobody formally asked for. The flanker who held a door for 8 hours without breaking. The spotter who spent 4 days turning traffic patterns into a targeting solution. The shooter who had one chance and didn't waste it. You write the after action. You make it useful for the next team, then you move to the next one. That's all there is. Level 8, the mission after. The shot was logged at 14:07. Patrols ran the Western Road the next morning without incident. Then the morning after that, the IED team had lost their man and couldn't trace where the round came from. That was always the point. Some of the soldiers on those patrols made it home. Some of them are out there right now, and they don't know this mission happened. They don't know the name Iskandaria. They just know they made it back. McGuire's after action became a training document. The setup moved. Other units in other cities ran the same position, the same comms relay, the same pattern analysis before the shot. The war ran for years after this and years before it. It never ended cleanly. It never does. But on one afternoon in 2007, it went right. 7 people, 7 roles, 1 mission. None of it worked without all of it. 1 shot, the whole team behind it.